Hello and welcome. Oh, we're laughing because I've been talking for the last 4 minutes and none of you can hear because I forgot to click the go live button. How are we doing? Thank you so much for coming to my channel from TikTok. I appreciate it. I'll speed up the intro. We're delighted to be here on election night. I'm joined with two fantastic TikTokers here tonight, My Dude and Rattle 2020. And we're going to talk about some of the exit polls in some of the states, and we're going to talk about Donald Trump a little bit as well. So I'll go around the table. So maybe, My Dude, if you can just introduce yourself to the people watching, and we'll go from there.
I'm My Dude. I am on TikTok. Some of you may know me. It's about it. I do political commentary, and I don't know what I'm going to do after the election is over, but you have me now. So
you're modest as always. You're probably one of the most accurate people in terms of predicting this kind of stuff, talking about each state, the polling data, etc. So don't undersell yourself, My Dude. I'm also joined by Rattle 2020. Take it away.
Hi, y'all. Rattle 2020. I just pretend to be a political expert on TikTok, I guess, is pretty much all I am. I hope that you check me out for the Russia hoax that's going to come rearing back in 2021. I'm excited for those trials. So after the election comes the conviction, right? That's what we're hoping for.
That's again, you're underselling yourself as well. These are two of the bigger TikTokers, guys, that I follow, and I really appreciate them being here. But without further ado, let's get down to the minutia of the polls right now. My Dude, I'm looking at Texas here, and we're looking at 49.4% Trump, 49.3% Joe Biden at the moment, with 73% of estimated votes reported. Is this exactly how you thought it would go, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think it's. I thought it was going to be close out the gate. I'm not sure. I wasn't really sure who was going to win. I was just taking an educated guess based on the electorate change, but I was pretty sure this was going to be a close race. So,
and you mentioned in one of your TikToks, there's no real data available really to kind of. You had to kind of pull in different resources like new registered voters, etc., to try and come up with your conclusion on that.
Yeah, you're not pulling from there's no they compile everything together and you look at it. You're looking at new voter registries. You're looking at demographic changes. You're looking at voter turnout for early voting. And I just felt like there was a huge influx of new voters that came in, and it looked like people were unhappy there with Trump.
And then comparatively speaking, then we're looking at Florida then, and currently as it stands with 93% of the votes reported, it's 51% Trump, 48% Joe Biden. Again, you call that. Now, I had the opposite. I genuinely thought that over 65s were going to walk away from Donald Trump, but clearly he's done a great job with the Hispanic voters and his 8,000 rallies that he's had in Florida in the last week. But obviously, how did you come up? How did you call that, Tommy? That's you're better than I am at this stuff, obviously.
Florida's a Florida for me was a weird call because none of the polling data was adding up. He lost support with seniors. He gained some support with the Hispanic vote, but not a lot, right? He gained more support with white voters, and not some of the demographic changes, some of the support changes from 2016 weren't as severe. So it made me question the data as far as accuracy, because how do you lose 14 points with the senior vote and still have a lead? So I started looking at, well, maybe there's another option. And I thought Miami-Dade, the Cuban vote, where it went huge for Hillary Clinton. I made a educated guess there was going to be a demographic change there, and you get a little.
But what's important here as well is that Joe Biden doesn't actually need either of these two states if things go well elsewhere. He doesn't actually need Texas, and he doesn't need Florida. Tommy, I think
it's telling. Sorry.
I just think that for Florida and Texas, it was all about, that was our go to bed early,
right.
state. we're Florida and Texas. So to not have those isn't that big of a deal, especially when you're looking at North Carolina and Colorado flipped, Arizona. I really think it's going to go blue. He's just got to pick up a few here and there. So there's a lot of paths to victory.
And Rattle 2020, like you mentioned there, Colorado is gone blue. I'm sure that's going to get down really well with your Republican neighbors who you've had beef with for the last couple of months. I'm sure she's delighted with that. But is that, you predict that as well, didn't you? That Colorado would go blue.
Yes, I mean, my neighborhood is supposed to be such a red neighborhood. I mean, it's a +20 Republican district, +20. And just my, 67 houses that are in my neighborhood, there's been so many people moving in from other states. I mean, it is what it is. We get a lot of people from California, we get a lot of people from the East Coast, and they're helping help to change some of these swing states into blue states. I mean, in all honesty, I think, Idaho, you'll start seeing that, in the future as well.
Yeah, I agree. I'm looking at Pennsylvania here as well, guys. I'm looking at, after 19%, it's 57%, 56.3% is just updated for Joe Biden versus Trump. So, my dude, if you're Donald Trump or if you're Joe Biden right now, who's the happier candidate?
Joe Biden, by far. I am wildly confident that Joe Biden's going to win at this point. Ohio coming back with the numbers it's coming back. Joe Biden still has half of his support out in places like Columbus, North Carolina, looking hugely in his favor. Georgia, even though it's red right now, Atlanta still hasn't come in. So if I had to pick a side, I'd be on Joe's right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rattle 2020, same question for yourself. Who's the happier candidate right now?
I definitely think that Biden's feeling good because of just exactly what my dude said. You look at where Ohio's going, you look at how North Carolina's going. I didn't even think about the fact that Atlanta hasn't been, the Atlanta numbers haven't been put into Georgia. So that's another great point there. And you pick up a state, you got to be happy with picking up a state, and Biden's done that already. So it's a good look, it's a good look so far. And I'm feeling good about Arizona. I really am.
Yeah, and I suppose it's important to say that, the West Coast hasn't even opened up yet. We have no data from there at all. And certainly from my point of view, everything is going typically as I expected. Obviously, I got Texas and Florida the other way around. But Pennsylvania is looking amazing. North Carolina, let me just check here, is 50.3% for Biden, 48.5% so far for Trump, and that's after 80%. So it's looking likely that North Carolina is going to go blue as well. So I have to ask the question, like, is Donald Trump, is he going to start pulling this whole, lawyers, Supreme Court card? Is he freaking out right now, and is he going to take action on it? Tom, my dude.
I think he's known he's going to lose for a long time. Trafalgar's polls, obviously, at this point, aren't accurate. I'm willing to bet his internal polls are probably have been saying the same thing for a long time. I think that's why we saw so many like Minnesota, places like Nevada, New Hampshire, because in 2016 he attacked the Democrats' strong point, which was the blue wall. Well, I think he saw internal polling saying, I'm not going to win it again. I got to go somewhere else. And when polls are coming in showing that, he's 9 points down in Minnesota, he's had to have known this is over for a while.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. And then it kind of leads me to a question, Rattle 2020. If it is over for Donald Trump, do you think that he's going to go and hide away in Mar-a-Lago for the next couple of months, or is he going to try and burn the house down?
I don't think he's going to be able to face the world, honestly. I mean, he has said over and over that he doesn't do losing well. I just think that he is going to put his tail between his legs and scurry off somewhere. I just don't see him ever going in front of the cameras again. I think that the loss will be too great for him. But, he's got a big ego, so maybe I'm wrong. But I don't know.
It's interesting because some folks were saying that he'll probably try and still do rallies, to have pity parties, to try and convince the people that he was somehow robbed right up until the Electoral College delivered our votes in December. So I'm in your camp. I think he's going to hide away in Mar-a-Lago and then hope that he can get a visa somewhere elsewhere in the world, because that's how much of a piece of crap he is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So Tommy, like I'm talking to my TikTok followers and I'm letting them know, because everybody is really anxious right now, right? And everybody's kind of stressed out, and people are fatigued from 2016. They have PTSD, etc. from that. So you made a prediction last night, as did I. I think you were just a little bit more than I was in terms of Biden. Are you comfortable with that still, or do you think it's going to be tighter than you thought?
I mean, where I'm at right now is I'm more confident, not in my projection, but in Biden winning. I was just going over Ohio polls. I don't know where Trump's already losing, and there's still, I mean, I'm surprised they haven't called it yet. Every single county that's blue, is still coming in at 50 to 60% of the vote. I don't know where he gets the remainder of those. I mean, you got Cuyahoga County. There's still probably net 200,000 Biden votes coming out of there. So if I'm Trump right now, I don't even know how you win Ohio.
Great.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm even looking at Georgia here, and it's, after 44%, Biden is up by 56.8 versus 42.1. So even in Georgia, where kind of I was afraid to call it, because Georgia is kind of synonymous with maybe, backhanded deals, some brown envelopes. It's not exactly the most ethical place in the world historically, but it seems very obvious that Biden is looking well here. So is there key states that Donald Trump is going to lose that are going to absolutely shock him? Either of you.
Honestly, I think his polling probably isn't showing. I don't know if he's gonna lose it, but right now Texas is a coin flip. If they lose Texas, I think it shocks the Republican Party. I don't think Trump is going to be shocked to lose any of these states, because this is what the polling's been showing for a long time. I'm sorry, I'm just going over the polls, and I mean, yeah, it's North Carolina still has a lot of Democratic ballots out, and you go to red counties. It's not like I've been trying to tell my followers all night. It's not like we have to win every single state. We didn't win Florida, we go to the next one. We didn't win that one, we go to the next one. Biden only has to pick up 2 or 3 states, and it's over. So, it's based on what my models and projections were, and based on what everybody else's models and projections were. It's lining up. It doesn't look good for Trump right now.
Can I ask a question? I don't know if you know this, but if with Colorado flipping, I mean, does that mean he only needs 1 more, 2 more? Do you know these answers? I'm putting you on the spot here. Sorry about that, but
I mean, most of the models that I have are predicated on Trump losing Pennsylvania, right? Mm-hmm. If Trump loses Pennsylvania, I wouldn't bet $1 that he would win the election. And I mean, he's down on it right now. Basically, if you look at Arizona with Colorado going, I mean, Wisconsin, Michigan, and like North Carolina would give him a win, maybe even Georgia.
Yeah, after 20% of the vote, in Michigan is. Sorry, my dude. And just looking at Michigan, 20% of estimated votes. No. Donald Trump has a big lead there, 58.7 versus 39%. That's pretty big at this point. I have Michigan going blue. Wisconsin is 50.4% versus 47 to Biden, and Minnesota is Biden by a significant margin, 67.6 to 30.5. But that's only after 19%. So I mean, he could win all of those, but I would be surprised if Donald Trump actually won Michigan. Would you?
Yeah. I mean, Trump's entire promise in 2016 was to make their state better. That hasn't happened in Ohio. It's gotten worse, right? He can point to like 3,000 jobs. That's just sort of how the voting system works. The red areas of the country tend to put in their ballots sooner. So these big Democratic areas, it's kind of odd. I thought there was going to be a big Democratic push. Not really. It's kind of looking like it was in 2016 and every other presidential election. Red votes come in first, blue votes come in second. So I don't have any. Yeah,
I think people should be mindful of. people should be mindful of the fact that on the day votes get counted separately than mail-in ballots, etc. So, it's very hard to call all of these things. Rather 2020, I'm just going to ask you a question because you're a bit of an expert on the economy. Who's happier right now internationally looking on at this election? Obviously, I'm in Ireland, so we're very much pro-Biden in Ireland, and the European Union are very much pro-Biden, I would suggest. But China, Russia, the UK, who's happier right now looking at these numbers?
Is that a me question or a you question?
No, Rattle 2020.
Oh,
It's Rattle 2020, isn't it? No worries. It's just daydreaming,
like,
watching the TV.
Well, I'm still a firm believer in all the trade stuff that I think is really going on. I think that trade rules the world, and so I think that it's very beneficial for China. Well, for the Chinese government, the Russian government to have Donald Trump win. So, my problem is I'm still just a little nervous. I think that's what my problem is. It's so close. You get a lot of the Democratic early votes in too. So I'm nervous, but so far, like I said, we picked up Colorado. I think that's a big deal. I think the fact that it is so close in the swing states that normally go heavier red, I think that bodes well for what we hope to happen in the future. Tonight in a couple hours when we start getting all the other states in their totals. But
yeah, and I suppose I have another question as well, because somebody just texted me there, because I think in this election we're forgetting completely about third parties. I know Joe Jorgensen is about 1% of the vote, and the rest of all of the third parties are like less than 0.01% of the vote. So how happy do you think Kanye West is right now? Where is Kanye West? But interestingly, 7% of the vote last time went to third parties. So it's obviously there's a shift there as well. And obviously they went to Biden as well. So that's a big surprise for me. And like in terms of the Electoral College and the two-party system, this has to do damage to the prospect of a third party with Joe Jorgensen performing so badly. What do you think, guys? Well, I know that's a loaded question.
I feel like the third party has always had one purpose, and it's to benefit the other party that it's not going to take votes from. You know what I mean? The Republicans have long supported even just Black candidates that were third party candidates, and just different races, whether it's senatorial races, representative, whatever, throughout the South. They'll run like a candidate that can siphon votes off from the Democrats to get the Republicans to win. So I think traditionally that's honestly been the purpose of the third party in my opinion. So, but I think this election is so important that it just wasn't. People weren't willing to cast their votes to the third party this time. They weren't willing to throw away that vote.
So do you agree? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think third party is going to have a hard time in this country because realistically, they can't raise the money. But I was just reading the comments over here. Someone pointed out that Ohio had went red for a second. I don't know if that's still true. So I was just going.
Ohio right now is 49.5 Biden, 49.2 Trump. And that's with 64%.
Right, it showed up red for a second, but I'm looking and I don't know where Trump gets the votes. If you go to Cleveland, there's probably 200,000 Democratic ballots still out there. If you go to the next county over, Summit County, there's still probably 50 or 60,000 Joe Biden ballots, and almost all the red counties, all the ballots are eaten up. There's like 8%, 9%, and they're small counties. I think Ohio. I think I was right about Ohio. And that was me rolling the dice. That was a real all right, let's test out my knowledge here. But I think Ohio's going to go for Biden.
Yeah, I really struggled with Ohio as well, and Georgia. I really couldn't call either of the two, but it's looking quite positive, I have to say. I'm looking up in Maine here with 9% of the estimated votes reported, 48.8 towards Trump, 47.9. I'm interested in Maine because in terms of the Senate race, they're looking at ranked choice there, isn't it? So do you have any info on Collins being reelected or being turfed to the scrap heap?
If that's a question for me, I don't know.
Yeah.
Susan
Okay,
Collins.
yeah, no worries.
It looks
Yeah,
like
I'm just.
Susan Collins was. It looks like Susan Collins was gaining ground, but she was still down. So I don't know if they have ranked choice in Maine, which they do. I don't know. I would hope that it would go to the challenger, but we'll see.
I mean, there's a question here. Let me ask a question: should Biden win tonight in the electoral vote, can Trump go straight to the Supreme Court and get reelected? My dude, do you want to take that one or
Sorry, one more time. I think Old Man Murphy.
So it's on the screen there. Sorry. Yeah. So they're just asking if Biden wins, and it's on the screen there.
Can Trump go straight to the? Trump can't go straight to the Supreme Court to get reelected. He has to have a reason to contest the ballots, right? He can't just say, I don't want these ballots in this state count. He could say, if ballots show up late next day, right? Even if they were at the election office, if they're counted late the next day, he could take it to the court. But if he loses as many states as it looks like he's going to lose, he'll run out of money. I mean, he'll have to send people in to recount and look for ballots. That's an expensive endeavor. And if you're doing it 2, 3, 4 states, you're going to drop millions in the first week. Millions.
And I suppose what helped in this scenario is the fact that the Supreme Court ruled that Pennsylvania could have 3 extra days to count their ballots. So that meant that Donald Trump couldn't just randomly call a victory for himself, and tell people to stop counting votes like Bush did with Florida way back when. So that kind of prevents that from happening as well. Rattle 2020, when do you think we're going to have a final decision on who's going to win this thing? I don't think it's going to be tonight, but do you think it's going to be weeks, or is it going to be days or hours?
I definitely think days tops. I don't know. I have a good feeling about it. I think the more that we move out west, it's going to look good. I don't know. I'm still having a good feeling about it. I still think that there's enough people who really hate Donald Trump. So I don't know. I have it in my head that we're going to know by tomorrow night, latest. But, I could be crazy. Call me crazy. But that's what I think.
My dude, what do you think?
I think we'll probably have a pretty good idea. We only need a handful of states to be called tonight to look at the math and say Trump can't win. That's what we need. We need a handful of states by tonight or tomorrow morning. Pennsylvania, the Rust Belt, and one other state. Man, Trump can't win.
I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on, should Biden win, what do you think the first thing? What should his first priority be in terms of sitting in the office on the 20th of January? What's his first move? Rattle 2020.
Well, for me, it's going to be getting right on task and getting those kids reunited with their parents. I think also he's got a laundry list of what he's got to do, because there's the executive order. He needs to get rid of the executive order regarding diversity training. I guess we're gonna have to. I don't know what the deal is. Can we pull back or whatever from the ACA and with the SCOTUS? I don't know. I don't know what the rule is with that, but I think he's got a laundry list. He's also got to get on the phone and start talking to our allies again, and try to get us back in the treaties that we left. We've got to get back. We've got to push ourselves back into the world, and push China out. That's what we need to do. We've left that gaping hole, and China's filled it. Now it's time to push them back out and take that leadership role back.
I'd have to agree. My dude, what do you reckon? Is it more of the same, or is it something like, is it COVID, or is it something else?
I think at this point, the first 2 things that he needs to do, I'm not saying all of that stuff isn't important, but the very first 2 things he needs to do is we need a new Voting Rights Act. Obviously, it's very clear from this election, and we need more Supreme Court justices that are going to enforce that. And I think if we can't make sure that the sitting president can't steal the election, there is no democracy.
It is amazing.
Yeah.
Manchurian candidate. This is too easy here in the United States of America, right?
Yeah. I want to make something clear. The chat's kind of freaking out. People are saying Georgia's going red, Ohio's going red. I'm not looking for what color the state is, right? Like whether it's blue or whether it's red at a particular time, because these votes are going to come in blocks that are heavy Democrat or heavy Republican. So when I look at like Ohio, for instance, right, Trump may have the lead, but the voting blocks that haven't come in yet are Democrats. They are early votes have not come into Ohio yet, and that's going to hugely favor Democrats. So
so I agree. So we said in some of our predictions and whatnot that early on it's going to seem like there's so many red votes in so many red states, and Donald Trump is going to get so many votes, but it's going to take time for the Democratic votes to be counted. All of the states that in the chat that you guys are saying, oh, this is going red and that's going to go red, we've predicted that they're going to go red for the most part. So we're not worried at all. And if you look at the overall map with the value per state, what Tommy, sorry, my dude is saying, and myself, I keep calling you Tommy. The cat's out of the bag, I think. Yeah, I think what Tommy and myself are saying, in terms of mathematics, it looks very difficult for Trump to win, and he has to have massive upsets. Like he's going to probably have to win California to kind of have a shot at this point. Would you agree, Tommy? And that's never going to happen.
Yeah, he would have to win a pretty significant, margin. Like, I mean, I think a lot of people are looking at it's going red, it's going blue, and obviously we want it to be in the blue, but I'm not looking at what color is it currently, right? Where are the votes still out at? We look at Georgia, yeah, it's red, but they have hundreds of thousands, maybe 1 million ballots out in the suburbs of Atlanta. So I'm not really concerned about, Trump's up by 400,000 votes. Does Trump have 650,000 votes so that he can beat whatever Democratic votes come out of Atlanta? And so that's, I think for Trump at this point, yeah, he's going to have a huge upset somewhere. I mean, because there's just so many states that Trump can drop that would give him a loss. And interestingly enough, I think one of those states that he needs in one of those scenarios is New Hampshire, which is currently favored for Biden. So
yeah, I think.
Yeah, New Hampshire right now is 53.6 versus 45. But again, for lots of these states, we're only looking at 25%, 19%, 24% of votes kind of reported. So like we're still a good distance off. And as Tommy was saying, these come in chunks and then they're reported in chunks rather than each vote is calculated on an ongoing rolling basis. So yeah. And again, just to remind folks, we're just regular people who are, sitting at home going, yeah, I'll make a TikTok about politics, and people were interested. So Tommy doesn't get paid. Rattle 2020 doesn't get paid for this. I certainly don't get paid. Look at the state of my shirt. Nobody who gets paid would wear a shirt like this.
George Soros pays me plenty. I don't know what you're talking about. I've heard all about the money that George Soros pays me. So,
Tommy, do you get George Soros checks as well?
Yeah, he has pretty good dental.
Right, flush with cash from the George Soros fund.
I actually made a video once about George Soros paying me, and I took a picture of like a castle that was behind me, and I said, George Soros gave me this, and literally Trump supporters thought it was actually genuine. It never ceases to amaze me how kind of stupid some of these people can be, and I'm going to be like, these people are stupid. They really are. And they come into our, like, and you guys both have, big presences. So like you get a lot of Trump 2020s and a lot of, but you kind of live in each other's basements, etc. But like, is it surprising, or let me put it this way, do you think that they are going to be surprised when Donald Trump loses, because they seem to have this undying belief that he's going to win? Based on your comments, Rattle 2020, let's go with you first.
They're definitely going to say that it was the deep state stole the election with all the, undocumented immigrants. You're going to hear everything. UFOs are going to have taken some of the ballots, honestly. I mean, please, there's going to be every crazy, kooky excuse in the book. You guys know it. Come on.
Jessica, that's an amazing comment. I'm still freaking out. It's like a bad Super Bowl or waiting for an STD result. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Donald Trump, I'm not surprised at all. And but based on then Trump supporters' undying love for Donald, will they still, after he loses, come out clad in their flags and their Donald Trump hats? Will they go back under their rock, or are they here to stay? Tom,
I just hope that they don't turn Trump into an idol. I mean, I think if he goes to prison, they're going to think it's completely political or whatever. Do I think they'll rejoin reality? No. I think that there are some sane ones that understand the probability of Trump, of Trump losing. They understand it. Like I understand the probability of Biden losing, right? But I think there's more of them that have absolutely no clue. They just think it's magic, right? We just make models and projections through magic. I think those people are maybe the shocked ones and say it's a deep state and they cheated and whatever.
I saw a clip the other day, guys, where a reporter who was undercover was interviewing a couple of guys about QAnon, and they were asking him some questions, and these guys were clearly dumb as a box of rocks. But they projected this kind of, well, I can't let you in on that information because I'm so high up in the organization. You're on a need to know basis. And I can imagine that there's 80% of Trump supporters are out there, who could barely walk up a set of stairs with their camouflage gear that they bought on Amazon, who are like in their minds secretly, well, yeah, I'm a lieutenant in the Trump army and I'm, high up in QAnon. So that delusion doesn't just go away. And what I'm worried about is people like Charlie Kirk, etc., who are going to latch onto that and exploit that. And Charlie Kirk and co are the next wave of Donald Trump, just like Donald Trump is the next wave of the Tea Party. What do you think?
Rattle 2020. I think it all comes down to this election, honestly. What we see happen today is going to determine what's going to happen probably the next, at least 10 years, I think. You've got too many Republicans who are turned off by the far right, and there's only so far right that the Republicans can go before, they're just like, forget it. They're just, they are going to end up just, putting the far right to the side again where it was, 20 years ago.
Tommy?
I think what I think is going to happen with this election is my honest thoughts are moderate Democrats and moderate Republicans have a lot in common, and they understand that they can offer progressives something so that they'll agree, right? They can give us concessions so we'll agree. Trump supporters, they don't want concessions. So I see we having probably a bigger corporatist element coming out of this. I don't know what's going to happen with all these Trump supporters, but I just see them going off the deep end. I think it's important, though, that when this election is over, if Biden has won, we break down all of the Biden cheated stuff, for a month or two until Biden takes over, and then we're just done. Because otherwise, it validates whatever they're saying, that maybe there's some truth to it.
So my next question then is about the Electoral College. I'm in Ireland and we have ranked choice here. And we have proportional representation. So if you live in a city, there's more representation because there's a higher population density. And we have ranked choice. So if we have 10 candidates, we rank them 1 to 10. If somebody doesn't hit the quota, then the 10th person is eliminated and their votes are redistributed amongst the rest of the candidates. And what we find here is that we have a higher quality of candidate then as a result. We also don't have any money in our elections because if you're running for election, you get a grant off the government and you get a percentage of your expenditure back after you get a certain percentage of the vote. And it just means that whether you're Bill, who lives next door, or part of one of the major parties, you can run on policy and become elected. I look at the United States and I look, so much money and the Electoral College. So can we get rid of those things, or should we get rid of those things in the next 4 years, or where are we at? Rattle 2020, let's start with you.
Well, we actually voted on that in Colorado this year. And I thought I was going to vote in favor of the Electoral College, in favor of keeping it, because I wanted to make sure that we have a way to balance out, what the with the small towns need. You know what I mean? But honestly, I surprised myself and I voted against the Electoral College. I voted for the popular vote. I just feel that I don't think we necessarily need it anymore, just because of how we have the Senate set up and how we have the Congress set up. You know, it's no longer the representatives choosing the senators. So I don't know. I think it's fine. I think we should just go to the popular vote and call it a day, because this isn't working, and it's not right to have the minority have such a loud voice here. You know, to have their vote, their voice matters more than other people's, and it's not working.
Yeah, I agree. Tommy?
I think the Electoral College needs to go. I think it's going to be hard to get rid of it because obviously one party relies on it to get the power. But if we got enough power, I think we should get rid of it. And I think it would probably make people a lot happier. In California, the Republicans, that their vote doesn't matter. And in Alabama, I think it would increase voter turnout. So I don't know how campaign finance reform would work. I don't know how we would make it fit into America, but it's something worth talking about.
It's almost too late for the USA, really, isn't it? It's almost too late because the damage has been done. I remember watching a show, and it kind of said that a congressman, after they're elected, 93% of their time is fundraising and 7% is miscellaneous. So you don't have politicians or public servants. You really just have glorified fundraisers.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I totally agree. I think that's a huge problem. I like in Europe that it's such a short campaign season, because it's campaign season 24. Like there is no there. What do we get? We like a week. Like after this election, do we get like a week off or something? You know, from before the next election starts again. I feel like so. It would be nice if we could just say, all right, you get 90 days. That's it.
Yeah. So in Ireland, the electoral cycle is 6 weeks. So it's announced, and then 6 weeks later is the vote. And a week later, we've forgotten about it and moved on. That's how quick it is. You guys have been going for 2 years.
Yeah.
You know, even more. You know, it's scary. Tommy, do you want to go back into the polls here? I have Texas. Texas is looking. Donald Trump is up in Texas, and Florida is almost ready to call. I think he's significantly up there.
Yeah.
Is there anything that's kind of sticking out for you, Tommy, that's saying, "Oh, this is interesting," or is it just, yeah, it is what it is?
I got to go in. I mean, I would have to go through all of the counties in North Carolina, but just on face value alone, it looks like Trump is out of ballots, except for maybe one county, but there's only a few hundred votes. Trump's out of ballots in North Carolina, and I think he's, at least in the one I'm looking at, he's up by 50,000 votes. I think that's probably pretty easily made up just in Wake County alone.
Yeah.
There's probably 100,000 Democratic votes. That one's definitely going to get close. Yeah.
And Tommy, can you let the people know just in the chat, what are your sources right now? So I'm looking at New York Times, and I'm looking at AP, and I have ABC and CNN, all of that in the background. I kind of ignored the media, but I think certainly AP is very, very accurate in terms of statewide, but you're looking at a county-wide scenario as well. So what are your sources so that people can have a look in the chat?
I am using Decision Desk HQ. I was actually, Max Littman referenced me to it. They were getting, at least early on, their information faster than most other places. I think that right now Biden's in a good spot in Ohio and North Carolina, where I definitely see wins for him there. And he doesn't need to win both of them. So he's only got to win one. It's looking really red right now. So it is looking like there was a red mirage. Expected to bounce back because it looks like mail-in ballots are going to be counted last. And there's a lot of them. So
I'm looking at Michelle's comment here that it's first of God, it's going to be a Trump landslide. Just put it this way. They've just counted all of Trump's votes, and now they're going to start counting Biden's. If that's the simplest way I can put it. They've counted all of Trump's. He's out of votes in some of the states, and now they're going to start counting Biden. So in the next hour or two, you're going to see all of these states turn a little bit blue.
Well, yeah. The biggest thing is you got to remember these places where his ballots are coming in. They're smaller counties. They can count them quicker, right?
Yeah.
In Democratic areas, it takes a longer time to count. So when they come in Democratic areas, it's going to be boom, 50, 60, 70, 80,000 votes in a matter of seconds. They're just going to start adding them. So I would keep that in mind. I've got to go live, though. I promise all my followers. I don't really have it.
Yeah, no worries. We're going to wrap it up now anyway. So Tommy, thanks so much. If you just want to give a shout out for your handles and stuff, so people can go follow you and look at your live, that'd be great.
Oh, I'll do it first because I got to go. It's at my dude, my_DOODE on TikTok.
Cool beans. Listen, if you want to go, Tommy, that's cool. And thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll probably join your live after this.
Awesome.
Thanks so much, man.
All right, take care.
All right.
You too, man. Have a good one.
Rattle 2020. I have so many questions. You're not going anywhere just yet. So, yeah, because you think you got away with that. So, like, I'm obviously a big fan of yours, and so I want to know in terms of after the election, like lots of our content is going to dry up because Donald Trump is not going to be in office, hopefully, long term. So, where do you see your projection going for your channel? What are you going to be talking about? Are you going to kind of stay the course until Kamala Harris or a woman is in the White House and you've burnt the whole thing down for a better and equal society?
Wouldn't that be nice? You know what? I honestly think that Donald Trump is going to be the gift that keeps on giving. You know, he's got a lot of trials coming up. You have to remember that, you know, he's got his defamation or slander suit with the rape victim. He's got that going on. Deutsche Bank is going to be prosecuted for crimes that they committed with Donald Trump. And so Donald Trump obviously is going to be prosecuted for those crimes. You're going to look at the whole, you know, the Mazars case with the campaign finance campaign finance violation. So you got that going on. You know, the whole Julian Assange case is coming out. Julian Assange is going to get extradited to the United States. We're going to see that he was, in fact, working with Putin. We know that Roger Stone was working with both Donald Trump and with Assange. So you're gonna have that domino fall. So, you know, Donald Trump's got a lot going on in 2021. This isn't going to be the end of Donald Trump, even after he loses. That, you know,
and like obviously, I don't think Donald Trump is going to see jail time. I think he's going to do a deal, and I think his two sons are going to end up in trouble. I think Eric is going to go to jail for about 12 months, and I think John Jr. is going to plead out and go to rehab because he needs to go to rehab. Like he really does. Like he's absolutely he's a nut job. But you're obviously, because I feel like we should hold Joe Biden to the same standard and the same level of integrity that we keep complaining about Donald Trump. So I'm going to be all over that in my mind. I'm going to make sure that, because Joe Biden, in my opinion, is going to be a one-term president.
Yeah.
And he's only there for 4 years. It's all about Kamala for 2024, and maybe somebody like Pete Buttigieg, who was really quite impressive, actually, if you think about it, for such a short resume. He's incredible. So saying, like, are you going to hold Joe Biden to the same, or do you think that Joe Biden will give us as much content to go on?
You know, I think Joe Biden's got so much unraveling to do that, I mean, the first couple of years, he's going to be so busy fixing things that it's going to be hard to find things to really be angry about Biden about, for that, at least for the first couple of years, because there's just so much he's got to do that he's going to have to fix what Donald did, right? So you've got that, but you know, I think that there's a lot on his plate. We've got coronavirus. I think coronavirus is going to become a much bigger deal than people realize. When, you know, businesses use healthcare dollars, they're punished for it, right? We're punished for using our insurance, right? Just like everything else. So, you know, well, the United States, I guess I should say. So, you know, that's going to be a problem.
I think as well, Donald Trump, he said it clearly. I just looked at what Obama did and I just undid it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be the same for Joe Biden. He's going to have to undo the mess that Donald Trump, and it's going to affect the Democrats in the midterms, I believe, because it's going to seem like they're not actually achieving anything. But yeah, so Kamala Harris for POTUS in 2024, what do you think?
You know, here's the thing. I think after Joe, I don't see Joe Biden, you know, I'm going to call me crazy, but I don't see him finishing his term necessarily. I can see Biden, you know, letting Kamala, you know, stepping aside, letting Kamala run as an incumbent. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe we'll see a new field, but I'm going to really focus on the 2022 elections. I feel like, the Democrats, what are we worst at? Voting in the midterms. And we need to vote in the midterms. We really do. It's the only way we're going to get our things passed.
I agree. You have to have a blue House, a blue Senate, and a blue White House for real change and real reform to happen.
And
I completely agree.
Overwhelming numbers. Like, it's got to be like a 2/3 thing, or
2/3 majority in the Senate.
Yeah. Oh, it's so frustrating.
So I'm going to call it a day then. I'm going to draw a line because this is just one of the shorter ones. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And I don't know if you know, but there's 244 people watching right now, which is pretty awesome, I have to say, and that's been consistent throughout the evening. You're probably going to go live, etc. after this, yeah?
Yeah, probably. I'll probably be on. I'll be up late, I'm sure, tonight. So
and there might be a glass of wine on the cards. Happy days. So just throw out your handle and stuff there so that people know where to go find you and follow you.
Awesome. I'm on TikTok, and I'm on the Twitter as well, but I'm mostly on the TikTok, and it's RATL, which stands for Return America to Leadership. So RATL 2020. I hope you join me. Thanks so much for hanging out.
I've been
hanging out with you.
I've been completely getting that wrong all night. It's like Rattle 2020 because it just sounds like that. I'm so sorry.
No.
RATL 2020.
It is Rattle 2020. It's a good play on words.
Okay.
It is. But it does stand for Return America to Leadership. So it's just an easier way to remember it, I think. But yeah, Rattle 2020, RATL 2020.
And folks,
thank you so much, Patty.
No worries, of course. This is my third podcast for the evening, actually. But I'll probably go live again because I love this stuff and I'm kind of addicted to it, I think. But thanks so much. Follow me, Paddy the Panda, Panda Paddy 30 on Twitter as well, and obviously my other information is in my bio on Tickety Talk. Thanks so much for everyone for being there, for being here. I really appreciate it, and it's nothing without your interaction with us as well. I appreciate it. I just want to reassure you again, as it stands, everything is going exactly as we thought it was going to go. So don't worry, don't stress. I am 100% certain that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. 100%